Hey everyone, welcome to a special interview we have here with JP Sears. JP, thanks for joining us.
Mike, you're incredibly welcome, brother. Thank you for being weird enough to have me on. I
Yeah,
always
man,
like hanging out with you.
it's always interesting. For those who don't know, we've talked about this a couple times on our own interviews, and we've done a podcast with JP, and I've talked about it pretty extensively, my experience and my journey through from my previous existence to my current one. And one of the turning points for me was my first Czech Institute course, which JP was the teacher of, which I think now was 8 or 9 years ago.
I believe
Um,
that, yeah.
and so I've known him for quite a while and has been a very influential teacher for me. And now that everyone else also knows him, it's kind of like watching one of your friends be on the TV. And
Hmm.
so I saw he came out with the book. We wanted to bring him in to talk about his book and to give you guys a little insider info and a first look. And JP's been gracious enough to fill us in on his schedule. So he is here and we are going to ask him some really difficult questions about this book.
I'm nervous. I feel flooded with cortisol right now, just hearing that, Mike.
Perfect.
And my prefrontal cortex is inhibited. Also, my free frontal cortex. I
So you have
didn't
no
even know
will
I had one
powers.
of those until I said it.
All right. Okay. We'll just start off then. How your character, your ultra spiritual JP, has kind of taken the internet by storm quite a bit, and you use humor and kind of tongue in cheek sarcasm mixed with cynicism, kind of poking fun at a lot of things. But um, I know that I've worked with you in the past and seen your more serious work. How do you use that humor? How does like well directed humor create uh, meaningful change? Like how are you using that well directed humor with an agenda almost?
It's a great question. I think an important part of that is having an intentionality with the humor. I mean, we all know that humor can be used to hurt people, like having a laugh at someone's expense. And I don't think the world needs more of that. And it hurts me to hurt people. So, like, I don't want to hurt people. So, but realizing there's a powerful light side to humor, and to me, humor can heal. Humor can improve our lives. I mean, nobody's ever gone to their doctor and the doctor said, you need to laugh less. I think it's something we need more of. So, to me, being very conscious of how I use humor, and one of the directives I have with my humor is helping people see the unseen. And humor has to me, a very magical quality to it. And part of the magical quality is like people don't feel threatened by it. At least most people don't. So we're able to actually see and consider something we haven't seen before because we don't get psychologically defended about the topic before we even consider it. Why? Because it's coming to us in the language of humor that seems playful, not threatening. So there's nothing to defend against. So our psychological defenses that are geared around making us survive, not making us thrive, are down. So the message can get in. And in my opinion, humor is a powerful biohack for health. It really is. One, makes us laugh, and we get endorphins released, and I could like make up a bunch of other physiological facts about laughter that may or may not be true. So please fill in the blank on those, dear listener. Use your creativity. But also another biohack component of humor is, to me, it helps us transform beliefs. It helps us digest old pain that we have. And kind of like, to me, the heart and soul of the biohack of humor is helping ourselves not take ourselves so seriously so that we can be in more of a light-hearted, loving relationship with ourself, our beliefs, our identity. Not to say we're less important, but I think we actually allow ourselves to become more important to ourselves when we can have a playful relationship with ourselves through humor.
So I heard you mention in there not taking ourselves so seriously, and I've seen you mentioned biohack. The biohack episode is really funny, and I know a lot of people in that community, and I'd say like 90% of them thought it was hilarious, and 10% of them will forever think you're an asshole. So,
Thank
and I think
you.
you've kind of gotten that because I've seen the hate comments on the YouTube videos and
Sure.
things from I think it's the minority of people, but the people who maybe there wasn't quite enough humor to prevent the defensiveness, or they're just really entrenched and can't laugh at something that's hilarious. But you mentioned not taking yourself so seriously. So most of or a lot of your videos focus on things that most people regard as healthy practices,
Yeah.
whether it be yoga or meditation or various types of diets or biohacks. Do you think there's a point where healthy practices can become unhealthy or harmful?
Yeah, I do. And it's like how the health practice is used, I think is a powerful influential factor over is that health practice healthy for us or harmful to us. And I don't think how we use it, I don't think that's the only influencing factor, but I think it's one of them that we oftentimes forget about. For myself, I've been gluten free for probably 15 years or so at this point. And about a couple of years ago, when I came out with the video, How to Become Gluten Intolerant, that was my way of, one, like doing a video on something that I respect, and being gluten free has had a powerful impact on my health, my physical as well as my mental and emotional clarity is beautiful. And I wanted to call myself out in that video. I wanted to use humor to really highlight how I was using a health practice to build my health, but also harm my health at the same time. And the harm came in a little bit more on the psychological side, where it become a stress on me and me become a stress on other people, which then ultimately I think increases the stress on me. So case in point, like, go home, visit my family, and nothing they make is good enough for me because that's not gluten-free enough. And even if it is, well, then it has, does it have sugar in it? Well, you should have read my mind, can't eat that. And by the way, even if I gave you the whole list of things I can't eat, you should 100% cater to me. So I was finding like I was using my gluten freedom as a way of essentially controlling people and sending this passive aggressive message that says, what you do is not good enough for me, which I think breaks my heart to say, but later realizing that I'll probably also sent the message that says you're not good enough for me. So like I definitely helped my health living gluten-free, and honestly I really harmed my health more from a mental, emotional, and relational perspective with how I was practicing the art of gluten-free living. And now I'm still gluten-free to this day. And I would hopefully there's truth in this. I think there is. I would say that I'm not controlling with it. I don't push my values on other people. I don't have victimized demands and expectations of other people catering to my needs. But to me, there's a sense of self-responsibility that I have now that I didn't when I began my gluten-free journey. And to me, a health practice stays healthy for us when we are invested in the self-responsibility of it. If we become obsessive compulsive or try to proselytize it onto other people or push the self-responsibility on them, like you are supposed to do this for me, like I can't look at plastic because it hurts my feelings because I know what that does to dolphins. So to me, those are considerations when it comes to healthy or harmful effects that our health practices have on us. And there's so many of them, be they in our spiritual lives, self-growth lives, health lives. I'm saying just that's all the same thing. It's just we like to use different terminology to describe the same thing. But I'm just using gluten-free.
Yeah, we
freedom.
run into it a lot with a lot of different things. And we've talked to you about it on a webinar, or I don't remember if it was a podcast or what, where we talked about how people around us tend to respond defensively or negatively? Like, what would you say to the person who's trying to do XYZ health things and the people around them are not encouraging, or they're even, combative about it? And oftentimes it comes down to, how are you speaking to those people about this stuff that you're trying to do? How are you acting around it? And are you, like you said, like, you're not good enough for me? If, oh, you eat that? I don't eat that. I would never eat that. Well, that person's not going to like you, and they're not going to support what you're trying to do.
Because you're not being likable.
Yeah, because you're not being likable. And I think a lot of times, people expect everyone around them to do the same and have the same values and do the same things. And if we reevaluate how we're speaking to those people or how we're approaching the situation, and do it from a place, like you said, of personal responsibility. These are my choices. I choose to do this, and you're not responsible for it. I think that people will respond a lot better to you doing those things. And I think that the comedy in your videos does a really good job of kind of digging at the people who do act like that in a way that they may see it a little bit in self-reflection without having to admit it. You don't have to admit it. If he's ever made a video and you're like, oh man, I'm that asshole, you don't ever have to say it. But I mean, there's been times in a couple of them where I've seen things that make me laugh because I know that I've either said that or done that or acted like that. And if it helps people see it from the other perspective, which I think if meat eaters acted like vegetarians, one does that, and it'll help. If you can see it from the other side, you tend to act less like a jerk, I guess, for a lack of a better. And I'm not saying people are intentionally acting like jerks, but I think it raises the awareness of, because it's really, I mean, what you've done is create like a caricature of that stereotypical person who is the gluten intolerant jerk at the party who's yelling at everyone for eating the cupcakes.
Absolutely. To me, the raising the awareness that says we're all human beings. We all have our judgments, our intolerances, our controlled dramas. If we can be more transparent and vulnerable with them, then our lives and relationships and our health tend to be enhanced, in my opinion. It doesn't mean we'll ever be free of judgment and other parts of the human condition. But I think when we try to hide those yucky things, our judgments, our need for control, when we try to hide those under noble looking hiding spots, that's when it becomes destructive. And the attempts to hide the behaviors, intolerances, and judgments are typically what I'm really portraying in the video. So the video, if it's a video about veganism, the video really isn't about veganism. It's about human behavior and human psychology that some vegans have, that some paleo enthusiasts have, that some gluten intolerant people have. There's a beautiful woman who's in my life now. She's just absolutely amazing. I mean, my heart melts for her. And I met her a couple months ago when I was in Costa Rica doing a retreat. She was another guest presenter, and she's a raw vegan. So when I was just getting to know her, we're in the breakfast line together, and something comes out about she's raw vegan. Like I go under a stress response because like I'm afraid of like the controlling passive aggressive behavior that I had, that I was like expressing through my gluten intolerance nobility. And I'm like, oh, wow, we're vegan. Do you mind if I eat eggs? And she's like, why the hell would I mind? Like, do your thing. So it's like, oh, you mean you can be loving? And so, which is just like beautiful. So when we don't express the loving, accepting behavior of other people, I think we need to be called out on it. And I think comedy is a way that I'm called to call myself and hold up a mirror for other people, call us out on the behavior of it.
It works. And I think that, like, if you just made a video about how people who are aggressive with their gluten-free life are assholes, it probably wouldn't have got as much attention.
And I'd probably be an asshole.
Yeah, because then you're being a judgmental prick on the other side. So what does the book, what are you looking to accomplish? What's the goal with it? What can a reader expect?
Yeah, a few things. The book is written completely through the comedic perspective of my ultra spiritual character. So it's a satirical comedy. And so a few things people can expect. One, some laughs and entertainment, hopefully. And the comedy delivers a deeper message. That's my intention. And the deeper message, a few of them that come to the top of my head. One is, let go of that which served you, but is no longer serving you. And another one is advocating people unapologetically be true to their hearts. And then another message is inviting people to stop looking for happiness where it's not and start looking for it where it is, which I think is in who we are, not what we do, not what we have, not what practice I master better than anybody else. So I would feel like a lucky man if people walk away with those messages being contemplated in their psyches.
Those are good messages to get across. So I'm really excited to check it out, and it comes out next week, which when this goes up, it should be out now. So where can people find the book?
You can grab it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, really anywhere you would normally get a book from.
And you can go to howtobeultraspiritual.com and check it out there too, right?
Absolutely. There's a couple special offers on howtobeultraspiritual.com that are designed into tricking people to buy the book.
Perfect.
So as landing pages go.
If you want to just buy it, go to Amazon or one of the bookstores. If you want to be manipulated and tricked into buying it, go to howtobeultraspiritual.com.
I love that. I want to be tricked about something today. I want to lose my own free will a little bit more.
I'll send you one of our landing pages. We'll see what we
awesome.
can do. All right.
I'll be in your funnel system. Okay, cool. I already am.
And probably. And when you're in Southern California for the book events, we'll be sure to head over there, and maybe we'll do a little I'll do a little Facebook Live video of harassing you from the book line or something.
That'd be amazing. I'm looking forward to
go full fanboy.
You there, brother.
All right, cool. Thanks a lot, JP. I know you're busy. I appreciate the time taken out to answer some of these questions, and we will check out the book, and I can't wait to get it myself and check it out. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Mike. Thanks for having me on.